Hello everyone. This is Crystal with Fit to Overcome. And today I want to talk a little bit about business leadership. If you are someone who has a team of people that you serve, that you're helping to grow, that you have a job with, even if you're just, someone in a family, like you are a leader if you have a child, you are a leader if you have a family, right? And so I wanted to come on here today and just talk a little bit about the growing pains of leadership. Because obviously, as a leader, if you remain how you were a year ago, you won't be the bomb.com type of leadership. You want to be increasingly growing, challenging yourself, and really reaching new levels, right? So drop a 1 below if you're watching this live, and drop a 2 if you're watching the replay. I want to hear some of your tips as well on leadership. But this is something that I was reflecting on because I really wanted to make sure that I shared value for someone who's growing in their business, particularly new, or who is experiencing a really tough time, because tough times come. And if you are an entrepreneur, then you know it's very much like up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's never like this, right? So whoever tells you that it's supposed to be like that is completely false. There are definitely zigzags in that journey. And so I feel like, sometimes whenever we're going through a rough season, people ask you, like, how are you doing? I'm doing terrible. Like, from the very beginning, I remember maybe 5 years ago, one of my best mentors for a really long time used to say, I'm not having a bad day. I'm having a character building day, And so that stuck with me of like, it's a character building day if you allow it to be, because whenever you're having a bad season or you're having a bad moment or you're going through some tough stuff, then you dictate the perception of it. Like, is it just a bad season? Like, oh, I'm the victim. All of this stuff is happening to me and I don't know why, Or is it, this is an opportunity to grow because this is a character building season for me. And so I just want to shift that perspective for you right now, because I know that no one is omitted from going through or going into or getting out of a tough season, right? And so if you are a leader at work, if you're a leader for your family, or if you're looking into being a better person so that you can grow influence, really that's what a leader is, someone who has influence, right? These are some of the things that I have learned in my 8 years of doing network marketing, where I had to build a team that was a volunteer army, right? And so some people have left, some people have come, some people have come back. Some, relationships are done for life, and some relationships are rebuilt, and some of them have been repaired, and some of them have come new. But here's the thing, like with every new level, there's something that you have to conquer. And in my particular business, I think it's so difficult because in the company that I kind of like sprouted into a leader from, it was always the case of, this is going to be uncomfortable to grow. And we know that growth is uncomfortable, but here's what's going to happen. Every time you get stuck or every time you plateau, what you need to do is not look around and be like, what is going on with this world? But you need to put a mirror to your face and say, what do I need to change about me so that I can get to the next level? And so sometimes that means attending, events. Sometimes that means YouTubing. Sometimes that means podcasting. Sometimes that means reading. Sometimes that means asking a friend or a mentor and saying, what do you see that I need to work on so I can get to the next level? And I'm like, huge on looking for that, because from a very, very, beginning of my leadership, I didn't have a lot of mentorship. And I basically struggled in that aspect of like, okay, I'm trying to put the mirror to my face, but I can't see what you guys see sometimes. And so it was a lot of like, you know what? Go find it. Go make a new friend. Go talk to someone you've never talked to before that you admire. Go and listen to another podcast upon another podcast until something clicks and you're like, duh, right? And sometimes it's one little nugget that can carry you for the next 6 months that will just catapult you. And so here are some of the things that I want you to really dig deep into you as you're growing as a leader of influence, right? So the first thing is, when something's going wrong, stop, Whether someone slapped you in the face, someone slapped you with their words, someone smacked you or your ego, someone is really reacting and because they're just out of line because of their own issues, whatever it may be, I want you to not have a reaction first and foremost, right? Where you go immediately online and bash them right back, or whether you go off on them, or whether you hit them, or whether you just start bashing them to other people and being noisy about it. I want you to be the right leader. And the right leader that I've learned to be is someone who doesn't react, who does not get easily offended, who immediately removes emotion out of the situation and really just tries to figure out, what is the root issue here? Is it that I accidentally offended this person and I need to go and have a talk with them one-on-one? Is it that she's going through something and she's just like really hot right now and she's just like being crazy, right? Or is it that, I don't know. Like, that's happened to me before, like where I can give you an example is maybe a year or two ago, spoke on stage, and I thought it was going to be a huge, awesome surprise for some of the people on my team. And little to know, when I hopped off that stage, you guys, there was a lot of animosity towards me because of my team. And I really felt like, aren't you guys happy for me? Like, I represent all of you guys. And there was a huge issue where I literally had to figure out, I don't know what I did wrong. I was literally big question mark, right? And so I called a mentor and I just wanted to bawl my eyes out. And I remember that he was like, remove the emotion. If this is happening, let's look at it like this. What is the root cause? If you feel this is the root cause, then this is what we need to do. And so I just want to remind you, despite how crappy the situation may be, remove your emotion. Think of what really the root cause is of this situation. Have the conversation. Do the phone call if you have to. Or don't react until things settle down, because people are emotional beings. But I can tell you this, leaderships are not moved by emotion. Leadership is moved by discipline, strategy, and looking ahead 5-10 years from now, if not this time next year, or even if nobody else is around that is on your team and you're having a situation, please know that other people are watching. I remember very, very vividly, a friend had come up to me whenever we had a presentation one time, and she was not even in my team yet. She had not been recruited. She had just come to look at a presentation, and she pulled me aside and she said, I saw how that girl talked to you. I saw how she yanked your shirt, and I saw how she treated you. But more importantly, I saw how you reacted. And I don't know why it's making me emotional, but it's just a lot of stuff stirs up feelings, right? And so it's not that we don't have emotion, but it's how we react to it. And so when she told me that, it made me realize people are watching you. People are watching you. And it's so important that if you want to be a great leader, that you react appropriately. So first and foremost, look for the root cause. Second, okay, how did we get here? Right? So you got to kind of sometimes go backwards. How did I get here to this point where I have this chaos? Because sometimes it's not a relationship thing. It's you're oh my God, why is my paycheck so low? I keep, doing this, and this, and I don't understand. Or why is my team not growing? Or why am I not seeing the fruit of my labor? Right? You have to move backwards to understand okay, what did I do this month? What did I do every week? What did I do every day? What did I do every hour? And I can tell you that leaders that grow tremendously do not track a weekly schedule. They track an hourly schedule of to-do things. And they manage their time impeccably. And those are just some extra tips. But when you're going through a tough season, I need you to ask yourself, how did I get here? And then really if it's relationship based, how do I feel about the situation? Am I done with this person? Or what needs to be done so I can resolve this? Because I really care about this person. I really see potential in this person. I really want to grow with this person, right? And then what can I do to better the situation? What can I control in this moment to better the situation. And I know, like, I have talked to friends recently about having family, right? And if you're arguing with your spouse or you're arguing with another person in front of your kids, it's not about that situation per se. Sometimes it's about who's watching, right? So your kids are watching, you need to know, what can I do in the best of the best, in the situation to really come out of it okay, so that I am setting an example for the people watching, especially if it's my kids. So that's the second thing. The third thing that I have learned is it's not about being right. And this is something I had to learn, and I'll be completely honest. Like, I have, I guess in the past I would say, like, I've had ego. Like, when I'm set on something, like, no, that's wrong. I'm huge on integrity. I'm huge on character. And so when something's wrong, I'm like, I will die on this sword because you were wrong. You know what I'm saying? And so for a long time, I personally would not make the phone call first if I knew you were wrong. And now I've learned, like, leaders don't do that. Okay, that's been a huge learning curve for me, and it's been a growth for me to be like, Crystal, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about doing the right thing no matter what. So even whenever people chose to leave my team, I made the phone call to people and I said, hey, there's been some discrepancies. I want to make sure that they still have leadership regardless. Do you mind checking up on them? I didn't have to do that, right? Especially if I felt offended. But leaders do the right thing no matter what. So it doesn't matter what's going on in here per se. What matters is that you remove the emotion and you do what's right because it's right and because you're a leader. Now, if you don't want to be a leader, feel free to be petty spaghetti, catty all day, talk smack, react, but that's going to be honestly why people don't follow you. Not because you're being real and raw, but because you are not stable, consistent, and holding yourself to a posture that is worth following, to be honest. Okay? And now it doesn't mean you take smack from people. It just means you hold your ground in the proper way. You do things the right way because they're meant to be the right way. And karma is a real thing, and like, they will get theirs. Like, I promise you, it never fails that I don't have to lay a finger on people and stuff just happens to them. Why? Because negativity attracts negativity and positivity attracts positivity. And if I let you go in your own little world, because we just cannot collide, it's not going well, you're going to attract what you put out into the universe. And I don't want any part of that. So I just choose to be wise. And it's taking a lot because part of me wanted to be like, girl, everyone needs to know about what so-and-so did or what so-and-so said to me when this. Like, it's just not worth it. Okay. And also, how is that going to build your team? How is that going to build you up? How is that going to help you this time next year? If it's not, then why are you wasting so much energy on these negative feelings towards others? And even if in this tough season, if it's about you, you need to check yourself. Like, what have I been doing with my time that has led me to where I am today that I can change? Because if I don't change this, I'm going to be in this circle continuous. It's kind of like when we girls tell our friends, like, girl, you keep dating the same guy because you haven't learned that you keep dating the same guy and you keep seeing these red flags pop up, and yet you're still with this deadbeat dude, and then on to the next deadbeat dude. What a waste of time. Why don't you just change this so that you can change reality? And I'm huge on telling my team, thoughts become things, because the way that you think dictates the way that you feel. The way that you feel determines how you react. The way that you react determines the life you live. So I hope that makes sense, right? The next thing that I've learned about leadership, you guys, is to not be afraid to let uncoachable people go, no matter how much potential I see in them. Like J-Lo, Shakira, like, I don't care. Someone famous, you know what I'm saying? Like Kevin Hart, does not matter, could join my team, but because of their, not saying that they necessarily have big heads, but had they had big heads, let's say, for example, right? Like, we know they have influence. We know they have leadership in them. We know they have amazing attributes, but if they're not coachable, I don't want them. I just do not want to mess with them. I don't care how many people you know. I don't care what your connections are. If you lack integrity or you're not coachable, bye. Like, it is better that you and I part ways and you find someone that you can grow with, that you're not either intimidated by, jealous of, feeling competitive of, but you really see it like a partnership that we're going to grow together, because uncoachable people will drain you. Uncoachable people will drain you. And if you're the uncoachable person, you know you got to let go of ego. You know you got to stop looking left and right, comparing yourself to other people, or trying to be in competition, or trying to upsell someone, or trying to updo someone. Like, what is that doing for your life? Like, focus on you, focus on your goals, focus on your dreams, and focus on working with people that you admire who can get you there, right? Now, the next thing, including to that, I wrote down, you can't pull out greatness from someone who doesn't accept your help, because of their ego or because of whatever feelings they're dealing with. But it ultimately comes down to pride and ego, which we know biblically comes right before the fall. And that will keep you down there if you don't check it. So I've learned, even every time I'm offended, to just be like, oh, I need to go through this growing pain. Like, I already know. Like, if something is attacking my feelings, I need to deal with that. I need to either work through it, heal from it, or internally figure out why is this triggering me? Like, what happened either in my childhood, in my adulthood, in my teenagehood, that I need to deal with this, because it's not okay for me to be a hot-headed person, or for me to not be the kind of leader that can hold it down no matter what you say to me. And that's the kind of person I want to become, that I'm so authentic and confident in who I am, where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm helping, who's coming with me, what kind of person I'm looking for, how we're going to do it, that no matter what obstacle comes my way, I'm just like, that was a nice try, but you just don't know. So all the growing that needs to happen in here, I want to encourage you to allow that to happen, because I promise you that's going to help elevate you. And every time you go through a tough season, just know you're on that stairwell to get to the next step. But that leap, it's like a box jump. You start with the little one, and then a bigger one, and then a bigger one. But the bigger it gets, the higher you're going in leadership, the higher you're going in success, the higher you're going in progress. And you're always going to see it internally come in first before you see it come to realization in your life. So just know, if you're going through a tough season right now, it's because you're destined for something greater. And the way that you handle yourself in this season determines how you get out of it and where you go next. Whether you're going to go in a circle or you're going to get out of the circle and go up higher. So it's your choice, right? The last thing I have for you guys is own your team's success or your family's success, always by providing tools for them to succeed as well. So what does that mean? That means that no matter if I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm doing all of these trainings, I'm showing up to all these events, I don't know why my team is MIA. I don't know why I only have 2 people who want to step up and do this. What am I doing wrong? And it's good for a leader to reflect and say, what can I do better? But it's also very important that no matter what, you're always consistently pouring into your team, and whoever shows up, shows up. Whoever doesn't show up, doesn't show up. That is the one thing that you can't control. We don't control other people. We can control what we do. So as long as I'm pouring into them and I'm making sure that I create an environment for success for the new person who comes in to be like, oh my God, I can get started like this. That's how you know you're a good leader, because you've created an environment for them to be able to flourish whenever they choose to. Because some people might be in a different season and out of nowhere, girl, I just lost my job, let's run. Or girl, my friend got in a car accident and I want to help her with an extra $500, or I'm having a baby. That would be a big one, right? So, make sure that as a leader, no matter how dead you may think that your team is in that moment, or distracted, or whatever you're going through, make sure you're creating an environment for success for them. And so I would love to hear any leadership tips that you have, because I know there's phenomenal people on here who've been part of, business and just growing teams and volunteer armies and family. And it's so important, you guys, that we're able to go from what would normally be a breakdown situation and turn it into like a breakthrough situation. And so I just hope that these growing pains, you see them for what they are. You know that they are meant to happen, that you should not avoid them, that you should really sit your butt down when it's happening and you should go through those steps that I told you so that you can overcome, because the overcoming and the triumph is like the best part, that you can be like, and then people think that it was like super easy that you landed on stage, that it was super easy that you're earning X amount of income. And you're just like, when people ask you, what did it take? Like, it took everything, right? But that's what you have to be willing to do. You have to be willing to develop into someone worth following, someone worth, becoming like, and someone worth listening to, you guys. And so that's my hope for myself. I don't think I have it together at all, as you can tell. But I do feel that we all can learn from each other, and we can all take something positive from every negative thing that we've been through. So the next time you're having a bad day, the next time you're in a rough season, remember, it's not a bad day. It's not a rough season. It's a character building moment for you. So sit down, take a moment, and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I become better from this, right? And so with that, I will let you guys go. If you found value in this, please drop a flame below. If you have any added tips, I would love to hear them as well. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.